Good afternoon, good evening. How is everybody doing today? I'm uh, I'm live today after 2 weeks. I think there was quite a bit going on in the last few weeks. New new measures in this country, that's the UK, on more lockdowns and different methods of social distancing and things like that. So yeah, there's been a lot going on in the last few weeks, and while it may not have a direct impact on me going live, it definitely has a massive impact on all our lives right now. So today I wanted to speak about what is an avatar. And the reason I chose this topic is we've got a lot of people joining our Facebook group. The link is in the comments. So in case you are looking for it, it's over here. So I've had a lot of feedback from people who wanted to join our Facebook group, and the cover on the Facebook group, for those of you who are already there, talks about creating your new avatar in the new normal. And while everybody knows what an avatar is in the techie sense of the word, so I know we all have avatars on Facebook, and we all have the caricature or the emoji or the memoji avatars on our iPhones and whatever gadgets we use. The whole thing about creating your new avatar into or for the new normal was, everybody was wondering what that entails and what it's all about. So I just thought I'd come up quickly and talk about this in terms of what I believe and what I think, and what things that have worked for me so far. So jumping into this, the obvious question is, what is an avatar? So when we understand what an avatar is, we might know, what we're going to do about it in the new normal. So an avatar, or an avatar, depending on which part of the world you live in. You're from India, you'd possibly say avatar. And if you're from anywhere else in the world, you'd possibly say avatar, like the movie was pronounced, the name of the movie. I guess everybody's seen that film and definitely must have appreciated how it went. So what is an avatar? So an avatar, in a very simple definition, is the embodiment of a quality in a person. And generally, this quality is not part of their usual self. Yeah. So it's a very simple meaning that, as an individual, you take on a quality that is not usually a part of who you are in your, life so far. And it's also about creating a version of oneself, a version that is different usually in a way where it depicts a superior or a stronger attribute and virtue to what you would have known in yourself or anybody else has known about you. Yeah. And interestingly, an avatar can be a positive one or a negative one, because we all know that we all have both sides of these qualities. And, depending on which one gets stronger, you could create a positive avatar or you could create a negative avatar depending on what you're working with. No, I'm not going into the details of spirituality on this one, but generally that would be the case. So, in the new normal, why are we talking about a new avatar in the new normal? Why? Why is a new avatar needed in the first place? So again, backtracking and saying, if we now know what is a new avatar, I'm just going to have a reference into Hindu mythology. So those of you who have studied or have learned about or have grown up around, Hindu beliefs, you might have heard of Hindu mythology. And in Hindu mythology, Vishnu is the protector of the universe. And he was the only one who took on different avatars, unlike the creator, who was Brahma, and the destroyer, who was Shiva. Yeah. So why did Vishnu who had the role of protecting the universe and preserving take on new avatars. And he did this to reestablish order and balance into the world. Yeah. And he did this by either removing evil or by uplifting those that needed the upliftment. Yeah. So very, very simple. But how can this apply into our current scenario? So let's look at maybe an objective example about this and say, and we know that creating is easy, terminating something is easy, and we've all done that in our lives. But sustaining and maintaining are the hardest, are the most difficult. Yeah, because that is the process that will need constant renewal, constant, changes, constant transformations. So if you have to use an example around this, let's say that imagine that you hired a builder to build a house for you. Yeah. So he would be in the role of the creator. He's building the house for you. And, once his job is finished, that's it. He's built the house, he's handed it over to you, and his job of creating is finished and it ends over there. But you're the person who owns that house. You're the person who lives in that house. And you have the responsibility for maintaining it, for making sure it's in order, for making sure that, it's, you're living in the way you want to live, etc. And you might have to have different avatars of your house depending on the situation. So I'm just saying, if you had a party at your house, then your house would don a different avatar. You might lay out your lounge in a different way. You might decorate it in a different way than you would normally do in your day-to-day life. Yeah. And another extreme is the role of a destroyer. So let's say if you decide to not live in that house anymore and you want to rebuild it, you might call in, the company that, the demolition companies that will break down that house. And then you might go through the process all over again. So the idea in the new normal is that you've already started your careers. And some of you may be starting out, some of you on this forum may be still starting out. You're possibly studying hospitality and, you're possibly on the verge of getting your jobs or starting work, whatever it may be. So the role or the focus in the current scenario becomes that of sustaining, creating consistency, creating new methods, new methodologies, new beliefs, new ideas, and so on, to be able to create the new avatar that is required in the new normal. Now, maintaining and sustaining requires a lot of conviction. It requires a lot of commitment. It requires a lot of consistency. So if you had that party at your house and after the party ended, you did not put things back to normal, then you'd possibly be living in a very messy house, with leftover stuff all around. You possibly be feeding yourself with leftover food and whatever else. And that would not be healthy for you going forward, right? That would not be a very nice way to live. So we say that, maintaining and sustaining is the one that requires the conviction, the commitment, and the consistency. And all of us need to adopt and adapt certain attributes in ourselves when the need arises. So these would normally vary based on the gravity of the situation or the nature of the challenge. The nature of the current challenge that the hotel industry faces is one that we've never obviously faced before. I don't think anybody has faced, not just the industry, but even generally, people never faced this kind of a situation in our generation before. I know our ancestors, grandparents may have faced situations like wars and, going back to India, it's about the partition and, those kind of things. But we as a generation have never faced it firsthand. And we're facing something as grave as what they might have experienced now. So why is it necessary to create this new avatar? And So, it is necessary. So rather than why, let's focus on an example of somebody I follow a lot. I'm totally inspired. I'm totally in awe of this person as an individual, where his skill as well as his personality and his being, all combined into one, creates him into the winner that he is, and that's Rafael Nadal. Anybody who knows me knows I'm a massive fan, and I'm a fan more so because he's one athlete I have observed who always manages to convert a weakness into a strength, no matter what the situation is. So the few qualities that he has, and he displays them, not just by his technique of playing tennis on the court, but also by his general approach to everything he does. Yeah, so he's one individual who makes sure that he converts his weakness into a strength. Yeah, and he obviously, from the point of tennis, he's got the various methods of doing that. But without having that as an attitude, he would not be able to do it. The approach that he uses is a very, as they call, the Zen approach, that he only focuses on one point, not even the match, just the point. How do I win the next point? How do I win the next point? How do I win the next point? And he makes adjustments as he goes along through the match, because you don't know what your opponent on a tennis court is going to be like, right? So he's going to go, and he goes full power from the beginning. He doesn't wait. He doesn't go into, oh, let me see how it's going to go, and then I might change my strategy and so on. He just goes in full power, and with that kind of an aggression. And I don't mean to use the word aggression in a negative way, but aggression from the point of purpose, that just going to full power to make sure that he wins the point. There are no ifs and buts in his way of operating, which means that there is no if. It's either he has to win, and if he hasn't won, then what can he do to improve for the next time around. So those are a couple of things that I admire about him as an approach. And that's one individual who I've seen who constantly creates a new avatar, for every single match, depending on what he needs to achieve. And it was quite interesting that he lost really badly to Novak Djokovic in the Australian Open of 2019, I think. And he used that time to reflect, come back and say, okay, so this time in the French Open, when he was facing Novak Djokovic in the final, there was obviously a doubt or a thought that he possibly could lose that match. And there was everything going against him in this particular tournament. There was everything going against him. The weather was against his style of playing. It was too cold. Playing tennis outdoors in the cold is not something that people do normally. So the weather conditions affected everything in terms of how the ball moves and how the ball bounces on the court and things like that. So there were a whole lot of things that were, one, different from what a tennis tournament would normally have. And more so, they were different to his style of playing. But what he did was, he really focused on how he was going to use these negatives in the environment to his advantage and adapt and adopt the technique of playing so that he can go full force from the beginning. And anybody who follows tennis and has seen the French Open final knew exactly what I'm talking about and what happened with that entire approach. So that's what is about, creating a new avatar. That's what I'm referring to when we say we need to create a new avatar. It's about what are we going to, how are we going to overcome this current situation now in the new normal. So the couple of things that I would say, if I have to summarize this into the 5 steps, is the step 1 would be focus on purpose. So what is your purpose in the current situation, in the new normal? What is it that you need to achieve? If you're somebody who is continuing in your hotel job, possibly the purpose would be to improve productivity, because obviously your hotel or your company would need that extra productivity now more than ever. Yeah. If you've been furloughed, if unfortunately, that's happened to a lot of people. If you have been furloughed, then your purpose might be that you need to replace your job, or you need to replace your source of income, depending on what it is. So what is the purpose is your step one. So focus on that. Depending on that clarity, you will have the way forward. So step number 2 would be, what is your new attitude? What is the new attitude you need to have towards this? So if your purpose was to increase productivity, how are you thinking about that? Are you anxious about it? Are you nervous about it? Are you confused about it? I don't know. Or are you confident, saying, okay, I know what I need to do to improve my productivity so that it impacts the business of my hotel and so on, or my restaurant, depending on where you are, which part of the industry you're in. Okay. So just try and understand firstly what that attitude is. Well, we're not talking about the change at the moment, but we're just talking about first becoming aware of what that attitude is. Okay. If the attitude is about replacing your income, I've seen a lot of the posts going around on LinkedIn, on even our Hotelier Excellence page, where people message me through the page and talk about or offer themselves to work with us. And a lot of people are obviously just posting their CVs left, right, and center. But is that really something that's going to, give you, get you what you want? So are you just looking to replace a job? Are you looking to replace your source of income? And what is your attitude about it? Yeah. So is your attitude about, oh, poor thing me, please give me a job? Is that kind of an attitude really getting you the response you want? Or the attitude is, this is what I've done so far. Unfortunately, I've been furloughed and I can contribute X, Y, Z, A, B, C to your organization should you choose to hire me. So what is your attitude that is on display? Is it one of saying, poor me, I've been furloughed, please give me a job? Or I've been furloughed, this is what I've done, and this is what I can contribute. So there is a massive difference in the two, if you think about it. So assess this for yourself. So what is the new attitude that you can have, depending on which one you currently are donning at the moment? The step number 3 would be, what's your new approach you can have? So what is a new kind of an action? And this new action would obviously have to match your purpose. So if your purpose is to improve productivity, what is the new approach you have towards that? Are you looking at new markets? Are you looking at new ways of bringing in revenue? What are you doing? What is your new approach towards it? And if your purpose is to get a new job or get a new source of income, what is it that has been done towards that? Have you applied? Have you spoken? Have you made the calls? Have you networked? And how consistently have you done that? Because remember, we talked about consistency is one of the key attributes for maintaining and sustaining. So how consistently has that been done? So again, new approach in terms of how you're going to increase productivity, how you're going to increase your business, and how you're going to make sure that you replace your source of income in whatever it is that you're doing. Step number 4 is a new awareness. We all need a new awareness, because what we were doing before in the old normal is not going to work for too long in the new normal. Some of it will, some of it won't. So what's the new awareness that you need? What are the new learnings that you need? What are the things that you need to learn? How can you, you might need to learn to network in a different way. You might need to learn to present yourself in a different way. You might need to learn to communicate in a different way, because at the moment, as we all know, we're all communicating online. and this is not something that we're all used to. So there have been people who are pros at it, who are natural public speakers, who are really good with it. But there are people like me who had to acquire this skill. I had to learn and get comfortable with the idea of, you know, doing virtual sessions, doing a Facebook Live, or doing virtual trainings that we've been running for so long. So it is something. So what is the new awareness? And by awareness, I mean, what is the new learning that you need? Is it a new skill or is it a new mindset? Okay. You might need to learn to multitask because, there'll be shortage of staff in your company if you're still employed, and you might need to learn to multitask, which means you need to understand the purpose of the other job so that you can multitask effectively. You might need to learn how to plan differently. You might need to learn how to, prioritize differently. So what is the new awareness that you need? And when you've covered the first 4 steps really effectively is when you've created your new identity or your new avatar that is going to support you in the new normal, that is going to take you forward, that is going to give you the results that you desperately need. Yeah. So remember the 5 steps. The first step is to focus on the purpose. What is your purpose? Is it to improve productivity, improve your hotel's business, or is it to replace your job, or is it to replace your source of income? What is it? Step number 2 is, what is your attitude, and what new attitude you need to adapt or adopt for that purpose? What is the new approach that you're going to have, again, towards fulfilling that purpose? Okay. What is the new awareness that you need? What are the new learnings that you need in yourself? And based on the 4, what is that new identity that you're going to create for yourself, or the new avatar that you're going to create? So guys, this is what I just wanted to share with you, and I hope it makes sense to everybody, because it made a lot of sense to me. And the only thing I can say is, in the current situation, we can only focus on what we can do right now. We don't know when the pandemic is going to end, when things are going to change, when things are going to become more normal. So we really can't do anything about that. But in the current scenario, we must adapt and adopt, and create that new identity for yourself. And if anybody is looking for help on how to do that, feel free to message us directly. And you can also sign up for registering your interest with us, and we will keep you posted on all the different stuff, all the different programs and the workshops that we do, and definitely there to help you through this current scenario. So guys, good luck, and keep that focus on the purpose, and the rest of it will follow. Yeah. So see you very soon with your new avatar. Take care. Bye.